Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of the SIC Show. And I'm here with my main man B. How are you, brother?
Super inspired today.
I know, I am amped. Today we've got Jaime on the show and his awesome partner Steffi, and find out how he hears in colour. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and he inspires us with this amazing image of a model in a tornado, and also discover how he gets a model to perform for him.
And I still can't believe that one of his smartphone images got used on a cover of a magazine. Absolutely incredible.
Awesome, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
The SIC Show. Share, inspire, create.com. Share.
Okay, Jaime, share something amazing about you that not many people will know.
A lot of people don't know how to pronounce my name. For starters, I get called Jaime on a pretty much daily basis, but it's actually Jaime. I was but born in Spain. I'm from Asturias in the north of Spain, but it's Jaime. I tell people, it's like, hi, may I help you? Jaime.
That's a perfect way to...
If you can get that right, then we can be friends. Only if you get that right.
Okay, good. Well, yeah, I think hopefully we got it right.
We got it.
Or we just call you Hi Mate.
Oh, mate, yeah, that's
Hi,
the
mate.
Aussie version. Hi, mate. Awesome.
Okay, you guys can get away with that, yeah.
All right, good.
Epic.
And I think you had something else to share with us. Hi Mate.
Yeah, this is not necessarily a funny thing, but it's an interesting thing. I have a neurological condition. Don't worry, you can't catch it or anything. But it's a condition known as synesthesia. If you don't know what that is, there's a wire cross between two of your senses. So anyone with synesthesia, one sense will trigger another one in a normally unrelated manner. But in my case, I have a color/sound association, so I actually hear colors, which is well, that's my thing. So it's not just one color. Like people have asked, well, what sound does purple make? The answer to that is purple by itself makes no sound, but if purple comes in contact with, say, a green, that produces a note. It's basically a musical tone. So, if you just imagine this was purple and this is green, so it's going to produce a note. And then if you had another color coming down on top of those two, there's two more notes right there. So it's as if you just hit 3 notes on a piano. Now,
Wow.
I can't control what those notes are, but the color tones, the hue values of those colors that come in contact with each other is what controls what notes those are. So it's like when I try to edit my photos, I try to do it in a way that they sound nice in my head. It's trying to create a chord, basically. Wow. So that's my finding piece with synesthesia.
Maybe that's why you got that gift, Jaime, for creating these incredible images, because a lot of it's in the color, especially in the shadows, the cooler shadows that you put in there. I love that. It's really inspiring, your images. Oh, that's awesome.
That's totally amazing. I wish I had that gift. That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's just awesome to use another sense other than sight to produce these awesome pieces of art. It's incredible. Incredible, mate. Thanks for that. Awesome share, brother. Sure. Awesome.
Thank you.
Inspire.
All right, Jaime. Inspire us with one of your amazing images, or maybe 2.
Okay. Well, the one with the tornado sort of thing going on behind the model. There's between the original photo and the time when the tornado was created, there was almost 7 years of time passed between those two things.
Wow.
When we took the original photo, I had seen this sort of silo out in the trees, just while driving around, and I didn't know how to get to it, or if it was cool when you actually got up to it, or if you could even get up to it. So we took a little hike through a bunch of, there was actual poo everywhere. I don't know who's responsible for the poo, but we stepped in a lot of it, and it was hot, and there was mosquitoes everywhere, and it was not a fun time at all. But by the time we actually got to the silo, whatever it is, she was not happy. No, well, honestly, nor was I. But you can see it in her face. In the original, she's looking at me in that photo like, I am going to smack you so bad for dragging me out here. And in the end, I think that photo, while it's kind of interesting, And that look on her face was telling of what actually maybe what we went through to get out to it. You can clearly tell she's not pleased with me or the situation or whatever. And I just felt in the end, no matter how I color treated that photo, it wasn't really going to do much. Like, I've always been a fan of juxtaposition, where you have, or I should say opposing juxtaposition, where there's an element of what the hell going on. Well, there is none of that in there. There's no mystery about that. It's just this kind of angry-looking girl in front of a silo. Why is she angry? But it was years and years later. Like, I'll sit and just let images, they have to kind of go through an incubation period where I just live with them on my hard drive for as long as it takes until something hits me. And it was the day that, if you've heard of Trey Ratcliffe of StuckInCustoms.com, Trey Ratcliffe had come to my house for we were going to do a little tutorial session, and when he walked into my my studio, he's like, "Well, where's your pen tablet?" And I was like, "Oh," I said, "Yeah, it's at the store with the other ones on the shelf." I didn't actually own one, and he was surprised that I didn't actually own a pen tablet. And he's like, "I'm shocked that you don't have one." And I was like, "Well, yeah, I'm gonna go get it tomorrow." And actually, when Trey Ratcliffe says that you need to own a pen tablet because you can do some amazing things with it, you hopefully will listen. And so I did. I went and got my pen tablet and took it home, and I freaking hated this thing for 2 weeks because it felt alien to me. And it's the But it was. My first thought was to, I guess I was under the misconception that the pen tablet was a great replacement for all the things that I'd been doing with the mouse for years and years and years and years. But I found out that that's not actually true, not in my case anyway. So I started, at the end of this frustration, I started thinking about things that I could do with the pen tablet that I simply could not do with the mouse, like taking advantage of like the pressure sensitivity and things like this. And it was when I started exploring with that, then learning how to paint, learning how to draw interesting things that you simply can't do with the mouse. That's the after version of this photo with the angry girl in front of the silo. I thought it would be good. Speaking of opposing juxtaposition, this bored, pissy look on her face, in and of itself, with the original settings, doesn't really do much. But when impending doom is right behind her with this pissy look on her face, like, yeah, I know, there's a tornado coming. So what? That's where the opposing juxtaposition kicks in. I think it has way more impact. But and you can see in the before and after too, I was also trying to learn how to paint hair in, because you can see her hair is decidedly different in the after. Yeah. I just felt like, wouldn't there be some wind if there was a tornado behind you? Surely there would be. I think that's kind of what creates the tornado, right? Yeah. So I just figured her hair should be blowing. Well, her hair was rather short, so I've taught myself how to paint hair. And this example is nowhere near what I'm capable of doing now. Years later, I've been doing this for a long time. Yeah. But I often will paint hair in, like, rather than worry. I don't usually have a stylist around. I like the shots to just be me and the model that I'm shooting. And there's not a stylist to come in and zhuzh up the hair and make it fabulous. So I figured, no problem, I can just paint it how I want it. More often than not, anyway. So that's the story behind that. It was really my struggle with learning the Wacom tablet. And that's how this image came to 7 years before it actually happened. But,
that's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. I love my tablet. I absolutely love it. I use it every day, just even when I'm just generally browsing and stuff. I just can't put the pen down. I absolutely love it. But one thing I love about your work is you're exactly right. You look at her face and you look at the background, and they match. You know, she's there like, yeah, whatever, you know, like, and the background just going off like a bomb. Is that something, when you're creating your work, is that something that gives you the inspiration? You know, how the look on the model's face and how you felt at that time when you were there as well. when you took the photo, the original photo? Is it something that goes into your thought process for the final creation?
Yeah, particularly in this case, I think everything's different. Every photo is different. I mean, you can be inspired by a number of things. I can be inspired by something I saw on a billboard when I was driving to the coffee shop. Or I could be inspired by a line from a song that I heard. You know, there's so many things can inspire. I don't think there's any one hard, fast set of things. You know, but in this case, that look on her face just demanded something more. So it was very much the look on her face that drove this image to be what it became.
Well, and Jaime, can I ask you about the background? Where did you get that image from? Like, did you shoot that also, the clouds, and then put the tornado in it, or was the tornado there?
That was painted with the Wacom tablet.
Oh, okay,
I painted all that in. Yeah, that was a digital painting.
Inspiring image, really, truly is. And also, I like the way you've also painted a dress flying backwards too. That's amazing.
That actually wasn't painted. I actually borrowed the bit of the dress that's flying out behind her. I took that from one of the photos in that same series.
Awesome.
Where I had her like throwing her dress and kind of into the wind and letting it fall. So I just borrowed a bit of dress from another photo, and then kind of grafted that onto this one. So I'm a compositor. I don't know that I call myself a photographer more than I would say. I'm just an assembler of elements. Yeah, if you want to say an artist, to me
it is.
I still think it's a little pretentious. I feel a little pretentious. No, you don't agree. Thank you.
But I'll definitely call you an artist. Me too. Jaime. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely, man.
For sure.
Thank you. Epic.
And that other image, the one go down, Johnny, the first one with the model with the head cut off. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Yeah, that's another inspiring image that I just want. Well, basically, I want your thought process of why you actually firstly you chopped the model off at the shoulders, and what is this image conveying to the person viewing it? What are you trying to communicate with this image?
Sometimes I do things just to do them there's no message at all. But if you don't tell people this and just leave it open to the interpretation, to the viewer, they can just see it however they want to see it. Honestly, I don't think there was any message in this at all. It consists of a model who she actually came over to show me some outfits that she had collected for a shoot that we were going to be doing a few weeks from that day. And she just came over, and it was dark, and I just had this one of these IKEA paper floor lanterns, and that was the only light we had. And I just had her stand next to it. That's the light source that's on her. And I just thought, hey, would it be cool if you just sort of just jump up in the air a little bit? And I don't need her to go up much. As long as her toes cleared the floor, that's all I needed. And then I carefully had her position her hands, like you see that little yin-yang thing that her hands are doing. Yeah. And just had her go, boing, and she just jumped and just got it as soon as her feet cleared the floor. She only jumped about this high off the floor, that's it. And then what was I going to do with that? I couldn't have told you at the time. I had no idea. And of course her head jumped out of the frame. And that's I didn't crop it like that. That's actually how it was shot. I was just taking photos of the outfit. I didn't care about her head. But ended up I can't delete images ever, because you never know what you're going to use them for. Like you just collect your own stock for later use. Like and then all the textures that are in the background. That's those trees that are back there. This is sort of a similar story to the tornado photo, in that years went by before the final image was complete. But those trees I shot from my seat on a Greyhound bus during my 70-hour ride from Washington State down to Austin, Texas. And it was a 70-hour trial by Greyhound, I call it. It was a horrible
trial by Greyhound.
The only thing that I could do to occupy my time was to take photos, and whatever. I'm not going to take photos of the curtains on the bus. I'm just going to shoot photos out the window. And so as the trees would whip by, I would just not knowing what I was ever going to use these for. But those were the trees came from. Was just a shot I took from my seat on the bus. the birds are actually these grackles. That's another separate photo completely, that hanging out around the Whole Foods downtown here in Austin. And then the little twig things were something that we had bought at a craft store for a completely different shoot years prior. And I remember while the intent of those twigs was to be placed in the model's hair, that was going to be done by the hairstylist. But while they were spending 2 hours doing their hair and makeup, I'm left with this giant bag of twigs. I'm just standing in the living room at the flat that we were in, and I just got the idea to just hold them out at arm's length and just shoot them. And I would turn and shoot. And I just collected those photos, not knowing what I was ever going to use those for. But then I found, like, wouldn't it be cool to just maybe invert the shot and then just sort of dip the twigs down from the top of the frame. It's just art for art's sake. There was no purpose or intention or message behind it at all. Sorry to pop that bubble for anyone that wondered that question, but
no, I actually like that about this image. It's open to interpretation. You know,
yeah.
I'll just have
it's great. You know, I think it's just I'm speechless. It's just amazing. You just don't see people cut people's heads off. You know, but I love that about it. That's what I love about it.
And you know, for me, the point of interest in this photo is her hands. You know, my eye keeps going back to her hands, and like, why is she holding her hands like that? And you know, like, obviously her hands are quite relaxed. It seems like it. So she's relaxed with you, jumping up and down. But yeah, it's just different, and I guess it is open to interpretation, and that's where a true artist comes in. I mean, you put something out there, and people interpret it how they like.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Very, very inspiring. I got to find out how you create these things.
That is awesome. Thanks, Jaime.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Create.
All right, Steffi, tell us a little bit about the model's point of view when it comes to being photographed. So any tips for photographers when they're photographing models, you know, how you can make the shoot more comfortable for the model and the photographer, and how you can actually create those amazing images?
Well, I think the most important thing is to talk together, to have a bit of a relaxed situation. Have a cup of coffee before you start, or just spend some time talking. And don't ever forget to just quickly show the model what you're doing. Just even if it's just on the camera, just so that you know, oh, this is what we're doing. This is what the lighting looks like. This is what I look like. And that'll make the model want to take more chances and give more expression and give more posing. And don't be afraid to make some jokes and laugh and listen to some cool music. I think that's the best shoots I've been on.
Yeah, so build a bit of relationship before you get started with the shoot. Yeah, that's a great tip.
So it's communication, basically. It's
very important.
Yeah, some kind of connection between the photographer and the model, and there's a trust relationship, I guess.
Yes, definitely. Trust is very important. It's intimidating, even if you've tried it 100 times like I have, to be in front of a camera. And it's important if you're comfortable with the photographer, because that way that intimidation kind of goes away and you love it.
Awesome. Thanks for that.
It's true too. Like, and sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off during your.
No, that's okay.
But showing the screen on the camera to the model, that's very important, because it makes them more a part of the whole reason you're there to begin with, and it perhaps also bolsters your confidence that we're getting good images too.
Exactly.
So otherwise, I mean, think about it. If the photographer is the only person that's actually seeing what we're getting, so it's okay to turn the camera and go, "Hey, look what we just got," and
it's a wonderful thing.
And now you can see what you're doing from my side of it, and you can make adjustments to make it more what you would like too.
And the important thing of I'll know how the lighting looks, because I can't tell by the setup. It's all about the settings that the photographer is using, and it might be really concentrated light, so I have to be aware that my head can only be in a certain frame, and I can't turn it away too much, and that's important to know as well.
Yeah, that's a really good tip. Yeah,
definitely. So you basically, what you're saying is you need to look into the light to get the light in your face, to get that flat lighting. Is that what you're saying, Steffi?
What I mean is if there's like a beauty dish, for example, and it's a bit to the side, if if it's very concentrated and I'm not able to see that because I'm not being shown the images, I might turn too much away. And instead of the photographer having to constantly tell me, oh, move your head this way, move your head this way, if I have to see it on the camera, I'll go, oh, okay, I get what you're saying, and I'll be able to just do that and focus on posing really well. Yeah. And giving the right expression.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that's a great tip. And Steffi, can you tell me about the image that we're going to pull up now that Jaime took with the crown of twigs?
Yes.
How does that make you feel, that image?
Well, I love the image because I remember how it was made. Yeah. That, and I think it's really beautiful. But we were actually out walking right around the house, and I wanted to take some photos myself, just of the views and stuff, and I saw these like trees that had fallen down and kind of withered away.
Yeah.
I think they were pretty much dead, and I thought that's really cool because I love to create stuff that looks like it may have cost me a lot of money to do, but did it really cost anything? And so I pulled off these twigs, and I thought I'm gonna like put them in my hair or make something of them.
Exactly. I just remember her going, ew. And next thing I know, she's down on the ground and she's like picking these twigs off of this fallen tree. I was like, what are you gonna do with that? She's like, I have no idea. I just know that I need to grab them. So she's like grabbing a big bunch of these twigs. Here, hold these. Next thing I know, I'm the twig holder. And you didn't know exactly. She's like you said. She goes, I may put them in my hair or something. I just know that I'm supposed to get these right now.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That's awesome. And I love the final image too there, Jaime. It's almost mystical. There's almost like a greeny, I don't know, what do you call that, like a mist around the crown. Yeah, it's epic.
Yeah.
It's and that's only the intro to the series. There's several shots where she's actually wearing the crown of twigs. And but this is just one that I wanted to just rattle out and just get it out there. And there'll be more images from this series. I just haven't completed them yet, but there's a bunch of good ones from this.
Okay, so they're still incubating, are they?
Yeah, they're in the incubator. But I like to me, like the mystery is like you don't know, is she handing, as the viewer, is she handing the viewer the crown of twigs, or is she taking it away? Oh. And what is this blue swirl of goodness around her? You don't know that either. Because we're not telling. Because actually, we don't really know. But actually, it becomes apparent. It becomes apparent when you see the other photos that she's actually maybe taking the crown because you're wearing it in pretty much all the other ones. But I love how the morning of the shoot, she's sitting on the floor and she's making this. She decided to make them into a crown. I was like, "What's that?" She goes, "I thought I could just maybe wear this on my head." I was like, "Oh, isn't that cool?" So that just hit you that morning, I guess. Or maybe you dreamed it the night before. Or,
no, I was just kind of playing around with them. And then one thing led to another, and I thought this could turn into a circle, and I could put that on my head.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Part of the creative process, and look at the series of images. I'm sure they're going to be amazing.
Oh, they are.
That is awesome. Hey, I got one question for you. You mentioned that series of photos of the girl with the guitar there, and I thought that was a really interesting, reflecting back on what Steffi said before about building relationships with the person you're going to photograph. Now, tell us a little bit about that image. I mean, you had very limited time, so I think that was really interesting.
That is one of my personal musical heroes. Her name is Lissy, and her management contacted me that morning and said that, hey, she's in town for a show, and if you could be down at the venue right at 5, which is right after sound check, you can have 30 minutes to shoot Lissy. I was like, oh my God, yes please. So I grabbed the camera and I drove down there and got to watch the sound check and stuff, and knowing I only had 30 minutes, but I also knew that I didn't know her. I've never spoken with her. This was like a dream come true kind of a thing for me. Just not even as a photographer, just I'm a musician, so I respect her musically. With I can't even tell you how much. She's amazing, and she climbs down off stage and she's like, hi. She goes, are you Jaime? I'm like, and I'm like all smart. She introduces herself to me, and she was really, really nice. She goes, so what kind of stuff do you want to shoot? I said, just you being you. She's like, I can do that. And I remember I spent slightly more than 20 minutes of my allotted 30 minutes just talking to her. I didn't even pick up the camera because I knew early on from previous, I do a lot of portraiture. The most important thing is to establish a connection with the person you're going to be shooting. This is like when you're shooting with a photographer, it's a great idea to just talk and just get to know each other a little bit. And so for those 20-some minutes, I just talked to her, and we joked about tea and other funny things. And she told me how her boyfriend just bought a similar camera to the one that I showed her earlier. And she's like, well, so do you have any idea what you want to do? I was like, well, just hang out. It's cool. And then the venue where she was playing was really dark. So we found this one little patch of light in this dark music venue, which is where the door to the venue was. And we went down to the bottom of the stairs where that light was, and I just sat on the floor, and she had her guitar, and she's like, what do you want me to do? I was like, nothing. And in those photos, she's actually laughing at me because at that very moment, she had asked me if I wanted some tea. I was like, sure, what kind of tea do you have? And she goes, oh, I think we have 2 teas with us. And she calls upstairs to her road manager. And he goes, which tea do you want? And she's like, my tea. He's like, no, we have this one, and then we have this something called, oh my God, what was the name of it? Keep it going, or something like that. It was a laxative tea. And she's like, she goes, no, that's not the one I want. I want this to put the tea in my throat. So we started laughing about the laxative tea. I'm like, are you sure you don't want the laxative tea? She's like, yeah, I have to play music on a stage in 2 hours. I'm pretty sure I don't want the laxative tea. So we started joking about laxatives, and that's why she's laughing in those photos, because we're talking about laxatives.
Yeah, that's
because laxatives are funny, right?
Yeah, they are, totally.
So that,
I think that's awesome.
Well, those 20-some minutes that we spent talking, we were just joking, and during those 20 minutes, I'm learning things that make her react. I learned what kind of things would I say to make her go, with this concerned expression, or I learned what kind of things make her laugh, what kind of things make her play with her hair. And then you take this. It's like a low-budget psychological profiling, and I'm taking mental note of every one of these things, and I will use them to the advantage of the photos later when it comes time to shoot. So this is an example, to me, a really good example of why it's good to speak and just talk with your subject, but don't just ask them questions. The more they talk, the more you're learning about them, not just about their life necessarily, but their mannerisms, their physical mannerisms, the things that they do, and the things that they react to that are visible on their face. So I think that's a really good example.
That's such great advice.
That is great advice. And Jaime, can you tell us with that shot, what camera and lens did you use, and also what orientation do you shoot at? Do you shoot portrait or landscape?
I always shoot landscape. Well, pretty much always, because I like to shoot. I guess I want the shots to be more cinematic, and I try to incorporate as much of the environment as possible, because I figure if I shoot landscape, I can always crop it, to a portrait orientation, but that doesn't work the other way around, does it? So I typically always shoot landscape. What camera and lens was that? I think that was with the Canon 5D Mark II. I think I had borrowed my friend's 50mm lens for that one, I believe. I don't know. I'm not a gearhead. I honestly, the only gear that I care about is whatever camera I'm currently using at the time. Right now, it's this little Fujifilm X-E2, and I have a 35mm equivalent lens on this. That's it. I don't have anything else other than this. The camera doesn't really matter to me, honestly. Although I am pleased with the clarity of images with this particular camera, but I think the Lissy shots and pretty much everything that I sent to you guys for the sake of the show, except for the Crown of Twigs shot, was shot with the Canon. A Canon Mark whatever. I've had Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3, and typically with 35mm lens. That's it. I use prime lenses.
It's amazing.
That's awesome.
It's not about
the
gear.
Yeah, it's definitely not about the gear. And talking about gear, you told me something earlier about your smartphone and where you got your images on a cover. Is that right, from your phone? Is that?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
I've had well, one magazine cover. They chose a shot that I had taken with my phone. And there was another magazine cover, a similar story, but I wasn't really proud of that image, but I think it was they just liked it for whatever reason they liked it for. I just went, sure, okay. But yeah, I've shot magazine covers with my phone. That is a true statement.
That is incredible. A magazine cover with a phone.
Well, that just confirms it. It's not all about the gear.
Yeah.
A lot of it's got to do with the photographer and knowing when to capture in the moment.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That is so good. I had one last question for you, maybe, and this is about the whole thought process. And you mentioned earlier that this first image with the tornado, it was 7 years in between, and you said you get inspired, but I just really want to know, how you start with your first thought and taking the image through to the final product. Just a quick overview of that thought process, because to me this blows my mind. I mean, I'm speechless.
Yeah.
Oh, just all these images,
they're
just speechless. The post-processing is just amazing.
Yeah.
I'm a landscape photographer in the field. I'll see a beautiful scene and I'll know that's what I want to capture, but to have that foresight and that vision of where you want to take something from the original photo to where you get it, it's just absolutely amazing.
Talk us through, Jaime, the one where the model's kneeling down with the crow or raven next to her, and there's a cloud cover in the background. Tell us your thought process as you went through that image.
Well, during the actual shoot itself, my process was not this final image at all. I couldn't have even begun to imagine what this would have ended up like. But all I knew was that I liked the outfit that she had put together, and she had just gotten these 2 feathers and decided to jam them in her hair, and I thought that was really cool. And I just had her just sort of down on the floor with that's window light that's shining on her, and she's just looking out the window into the backyard of the house I was shooting in. And again, it wasn't until months later that, sorry, I'm looking over here because I'm looking at the photo, but I thought it would be cool to have her just kind of perched on a thing, looking out, because it's like she's relaxed, but she's looking out into something. Well, let's make that something an amazing thing, and if she's going to be relaxed, let's make her relax on something that most people will go, oh Jesus, I should not be up here on this without some kind of safety barrier or a safety harness or something. But that again, that's that opposing juxtaposition, her relaxed state on a thing that I personally would not be relaxed, perched on top of that. Would you?
No, I wouldn't.
Maybe you would.
It's super high.
It's definitely, and particularly not in heels. No.
Yeah.
And another question there, Jaime, is I see you put a lot of birds into your images. Like when you actually creating this image, and you've obviously got the model, you've got the background, you've got the ledge. What are you thinking? Are you thinking, what else can I add to this? Or that would be cool to put this in, or I'm inspired by this image of a bird, and how do you choose what goes in?
For this one, I just had the idea. I have a friend of mine does a lot of nature photography, and I thought it'd be cool to have a raven or a crow, just some kind of black bird, maybe flying right by her head. And he says, no, he goes, I'll let you use any of them you want, but I don't have any of them flying necessarily. I have a bunch where they're sitting. And this particular bird, because in the original photo, the light was hitting it, from the back. And I originally had it where she and the bird were both looking out into the distance, but it didn't. The light on the bird in the original photo obviously wasn't right. So I thought my original process there was like both of them are looking out into the distance, going, "Okay, it's time to fly now. You ready to fly? Yeah, I guess I can fly." But then but because of the light on the bird, I had to flip the bird around. But now it became sort of comedic, in that the bird's going, "What you doing? Are you gonna fly now?" And she's sitting there going, I can't fly. I'm not a bird." And he's going, "Yeah, but we can fly." And she's like, "No, you fly. I can't. I'm just gonna sit here and watch." You sure? She's like, yeah, you just go right ahead. And it became this slightly comedic thing to me.
That's awesome. Oh, man. That's a really good point. These compositions you've got, buddy, the light and the way you've reproduced the light in your final, that's what makes them. That's what absolutely makes them. The shadows coming off the back of her and the bird, and yeah, I just love it. It's just
for sure. And for a final thing, Jaime, I know that probably a lot of the viewers would actually want to know how you actually create these images, and the how you blend in the backgrounds and all that. And you've actually got a couple of courses, haven't you, on how you actually do it all? So you give away all your secrets, right?
You can buy all my secrets. I don't give them away, but they are readily available for consumption. But yeah, I have video courses that explain exactly how I do this. But that's the one thing about doing what I do is that a great amount of time is involved in some of the bigger pieces that I've done. But it's like I don't mind spending whatever time it takes for the sake of the end result. It doesn't matter. I'm all about the end product. Like the tornado thing took me several days just because I didn't know what I was doing with the pen tablets. It was really me just spending time learning the pen tablet. How long would that take me to do now? I could do that inside of a day, probably. But as opposed to the weeks that it took me to do it back then, it's all the learning curve. It's how much do you know how to do. But it was the knowledge of how to paint the smoke and the tornadoes and stuff that let me do the shot of Steffi where she's holding the crowns out. That blue kind of smoke or fog, whatever it was, that took me like just a few minutes to do that in there. It was nothing because I learned from the tornado photo. But a lot of what I do is compositing, where I'm taking different elements and then combining them into the final photo. Even if it's just something very, very simple, like I often will change not swap out a background from the original photo, but I will add a texture to it. I could maybe add like a nice vintage wallpaper or just altering this actual surface where all the original shadows are still in there. But generally, I think there's some compositing in most of my work.
And that is, I mean, I've actually I've spoken to you. I've paid for your time a year ago, and you showed me all your techniques, and I was just amazed at how you actually do that, how you change the texture in the background. And one of the things that worried me was, where do I get these textures from, and how do I how can I get the high resolution texture to actually put into the background and test it? But you actually have those on your site too, and they're available. So yeah, that's awesome. So guys, definitely go to Jaime's website. We'll put the link below this video, and go check it out. And I think you've even got a coupon, a discount for people watching the show, so 25% off. So awesome! Thank you for doing that for the viewers, Jaime.
It's my pleasure.
I think I want to take the course. I want to know how to do this stuff, man. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
it's awesome. Check it out, guys.
Yeah, check it out. Well, thank you very much for being on the show, and I mean, it's been amazing.
Awesome show.
Yes, I've learned so much about you.
Yeah, so inspiring. And
thanks for having me. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for being on too, Steffi. It's great to have the model's point of view.
Definitely.
Get those tips you gave. I think they're priceless. Building the relationship and keeping the communication up during the shoot. That's gold. Awesome.
Definitely. Awesome.
Man, what an interview. That guy is incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I can't believe he can hear in color. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. So basically his images sing.
That's right, they do. He hears notes. Depending on what colors are clashing with each other or merging with each other, he hears different musical notes. I don't see that as a disability, man. That's some sort of superpower, man. Yeah, especially as an artist and a photographer. Like, amazing. That's incredible. I might just wonder what it'd be like. And he didn't mention it, but we know he's a musician. I wonder what it'd be like if he did a score or some sort of music over some of his images. I wonder what would come out, or whether that notes and tones of the music would reflect how he felt at the time or what he heard from those images when they were created. So,
hi, mate.
Awesome.
Do one of those.
There's a project, man.
There's a project for you. Take your best images, or the ones that actually sing to you, and put them together with music. And I'd love to. That would be incredible.
Yeah, something that he wrote himself. His own musical.
Because he plays guitar. I think classical guitar.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wicked, man.
And those images, man. The model in the tornado. That is so inspiring.
I know.
I love that image, good. And the way he lets it incubate for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I mean, that concept to me is just incredible. Like I've got quite a few images, and sometimes I find that when I photograph a model and I'm really inspired, then I need to go and edit it straight away while the inspiration lasts. But I don't mind letting it sit for a while in your subconscious maybe, and then bringing back those images back to life with some new inspiration. So you're creating, a great image with 3 or 4 inspiring images put together.
It's amazing. I mean, I tend to do that with my landscape photography. I'll go back through my catalogue and reprocess an image I might have previously
That's some coffee,
previously processed, and it's amazing how far you might have come with your post-processing, and the final result can be really, really surprising. It's awesome. I love that. And storage is so cheap these days. There's no reason to not keep your images. It's just
for sure. And also, thank you, Steffi, for giving us your words of wisdom. The model's perspective on how to get the model to relax, and showing the back of the screen.
Yep.
Communication,
spending the time, and that story Jaime gave about that musician that he had to go and photograph, and he had 30 minutes with her, and the fact he spent 20 of those minutes talking to her and getting to know her, and like he says, what he says, like psychology, something like that. He's like seeing the things that make her touch her hair, that make her smile, that make her look down or whatever, and he spent 10 minutes photographing her, and he got amazing images. I think that's just such great advice. Communication.
So I think the thing to do, guys, if you really want to photograph models and communicate with models really well, is go to a coffee shop and just observe people. See what they do, how they talk, body language, and then maybe just take someone out for a coffee, a model, when you first meet her. Take her for a coffee instead of photographing straight away, and just chat to her and watch what she does and what you say to her to get her to laugh and relax. And then do that back at your studio or wherever you're going to photograph her.
I think it's, with any type of portrait, it doesn't have to be a model, mate. That's such good advice across photographing people and kids and that in general. Spend some time with them, get to know what sets them off, and you'll get that perfect photograph. So
definitely
epic, man. And I was going to say, I still can't get over it that he got a cell phone shot, a picture from a mobile phone,
on a magazine
smartphone, on a magazine cover.
That's great.
I just can't believe it. And he creates everything with one camera and one lens.
Yeah, and actually we spoke to him offline a little bit, and he's told us that all throughout his photography career, I guess, he's always only had one body and one lens.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And that's it. I mean, all his work has been done with one body and one lens.
That's incredible. I just can't believe it. So, man, he's got such amazing work, guys. I'd recommend checking out this link, and he's given, just for our SIC audience, 25% off with this coupon code that we're going to show you now. And go and check out what he's got, because there's some amazing stuff there, all those textures, and he shows you how to do it in all these video courses, and it's just, do it. If you're into this type of photography and you want to take your portrait photography to the next level and really create pieces of art like Jaime does, his courses are all there. He gives it all to you.
I highly recommend it, guys. I've actually spoken to him and paid for his time, and he's taught me so much. And I was telling him that what he showed me actually changed the way I photograph models and changed the way I communicate with models too.
Yeah.
So definitely get his courses.
Awesome, guys. Been another epic show. Thanks for watching. And as always, leave us some comments on iTunes and a rating. We love it. It helps with our ratings and helps us get the word out about the SIC show.
Awesome.
And if you've got any feedback about this episode or anyone you'd like us to interview, please leave comments below this video on the blog post or on YouTube, and we'll catch that there.
Yeah, leave comments below. Yeah, we'll try and get Jaime in to actually answer a couple of the comments, guys.
Yeah.
And thank you very much, and we'll catch you next week. Cheers.
Have a great week. Bye.
To find out more, go to shareinspirecreate.com.